Polt isn't ready to say so. He's still in the airport. I was talking to him. He said Stephano's a genius, and I think he's going to win this event.
Yeah.
But we'll see. You can count on the fact that Polt's going to bring his A game. Third player's looking pretty focused.
This has been the game everyone's been waiting for, MrBitter. They've been waiting around all day, watching some excellent matches.
I think everybody predicted a Stephano-Polt final. We're now seeing.
I'm pretty sure everyone did. I know you're exaggerating a little bit. Yeah, everyone predicted this, and you know, I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest.
Yeah. This is the winner's bracket final. The loser will drop down and play in the loser's bracket final against whichever guy comes through from there.
The winner of Grubby and Sleep.
Isn't there a game after that?
Yeah.
You're exactly right. The loser of this will play the winner of that, and then of course we have our grand final, which will be the winner of this versus the winner of the loser's bracket final.
Exactly.
Makes a lot of sense.
Double elimination, a little bit complicated, but we'll get through it together, guys.
That's right.
So let's go ahead and introduce the players in the top right-hand location. I know there's some fans out there for Millennium Stephano.
And Stephano's adversary, his vice, if you will, the red Terran player in the bottom left, TSL.Polt. A lot of support for both sides out there in the audience.
I'm not surprised. The map is Antigua Shipyards. And honestly, obviously, the voting system, how it works, each player vetoes a map in the map pool until they get to 1. And this has been a common first map in most of these rounds.
Yep, it's a map that people don't really mind playing. And interesting little piece of trivia, this is Stephano's favorite map to play ZVT on.
Yeah, it is. And some might be surprised, but it really lends itself well towards that mass, Ling, Baneling, Infester, perhaps Ultralisks play. Very fast upgrades for the melee and the carapace on those Zerglings.
Yeah. And Stephano feels like he can deny a Terran's 4th base longer and more effectively on this map than a Terran can the Zerg player. Stephano might be the only Zerg in the world that feels that way.
That's essentially what you have to do as a Terran player. You can't let, like a lot of Terran players will say, okay, on this map, I'm going to prevent my Zerg opponent from getting to a 4th base. Now, you can do that with drops, you can do that with a push, but drops are very good on this map. The 1st and 3rd are pretty far away from each other, and the 4th even more so. You'll probably see Stephano try to break down these rocks, leading to this 4th over here. It's a little bit more accessible, but then again, Polt, there's so much airspace back here to work with. You can just drop into this base, at the same time drop on this side. We'll have to see what Polt ends up doing. Also, a very important section on this map is the middle. If you can control the watchtower as a Terran player, or as a Zerg player, perhaps with Broodlords, you have that high ground vision, you can really make a stand and have control of both of these expansions in the middle here.
Well said, Axeltoss. StarCraft, strategy games, is all about controlling the board.
Exactly.
And that center area is so critical on this particular map. If you can control the center, you can take expansions and your opponent can't. Because it is so easy to push 8 Marines from the center to a 4th base somewhere. So easy to control the center with broods and just send lings around. Albeit a little bit more difficult when there's planetaries at 4th bases, but still, it all comes down to making sure that you have that middle control.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And Polt can add on a command center relatively fast here. Also, reactor onto the barracks. It's going to make a Hellion, and probably going to drop that factory onto that reactor after 1 Hellion is out, or whenever that reactor completes, and then proceed forward to do some harassment to the Zerg player, of course, trying to deny that creep spread, trying to take some map control, and just trying to make him a little scared. If you can get your Zerg opponent to make some roaches, if they think a lot of Hellions are coming, that's obviously a good thing. That's less gas spent on the units that Stephano wants, those Infestors, those Zerglings. At the same time, Polt's Hellions are unlike any other Terran's Hellions, to be honest.
Yeah, he's had exemplary Hellion control throughout the entire tournament. On that same note, though, Stephano, his control is second to none in the world. He is indisputably the best foreign player that there is, and he has shown a great ability to play at the highest level against the best opponents that there are. So, I mean, I don't expect this game to end quickly. Polt's, he's got beautiful control, but I don't see him just walking in and killing Stephano as he did against Heavens in their first game.
Yeah, I agree. One does not simply kill Polt fast in the game of StarCraft 2, one might say that.
No.
Hellion's coming forward, trying to do some harassment to this queen. She's getting quite annoyed, but just going to chill off creep there, struggling her way back to the creep. as another queen comes out to try to deny this Hellion from being too annoying. The creep, again, trying to get extended for Stephano. 2 more Hellions, I think, yes, coming down to help this Hellion that's on the map. Speedlings are out for Stephano. Thought about going after that Hellion, but backing up very wisely.
Uncharacteristic supply block for Stephano. He made 3 Overlords at once. We can see he has 7 unspent larvae because he was forced to save there. So definitely a little bit sloppy out of our Zerg player. He's also getting a lot of gas really fast. I'm used to seeing Stephano stay on just one gas for a really long time. He's already on... Ooh, what? This is not something I expected from Stephano. I think we're going to see a 2-base, sort of high-ish economy Baneling play here.
Yeah.
I suppose it's still possible that these are defensive Banelings, but that would not make much sense given what Stephano knows about Polt, that he's a player that likes to sit back and macro.
Yeah, I agree with you. It feels like Stephano, again, is going to try to kill Polt early, but again, as I said before, that's not that easy to do.
Well, he's getting double Evo Chamber.
This is true.
Why are you getting that Baneling nest, Stephano? Well, he's got so many units.
I think
he's just going to try to do some aggression and then back off and take a third.
I think he's just trying to stay safe.
I have no idea. There's no reason to have 30 lings on the map right now. If he's not going to attack. This is too early to prepare for a time.
Just trying to stay safe, maybe, against any potential aggression from Polt. Polt did go for that very, very fast expansion, also getting a star point on the field. Going to start with the medevac production. Of course, you need plenty of links to deal with those drops that could occur at your main and natural. But yeah, not getting a third just yet is Stephano, making a lot of banelings here at his natural expansion. So did he see something that we didn't?
He hasn't seen anything. He's not had any map control. I'm really confused at Stephano's play right now. He's getting some upgrades. Polt's already building his 3rd base. I want to know what Stephano's thinking.
And the reason why we're a little perplexed here is because he's investing a lot into these Zerglings.
Yeah, he made a lot of lings. He made a couple of Banelings. It's starting to look like he just wanted to have some way to deal with these Hellions, but he invested a lot of larvae in that. 15 larvae invested into these Zerglings. So
I guess I would attribute it to just being super safety. Obviously he's not being aggressive just yet with these units, and making those drones back up. But again, his economy is going to be strong, just a little bit later than normal had he used most of that larva on exclusively drones rather than getting all these lings on the field.
Yep, he is going to inch forward with this Spine Crawler. I love this move. This is something we're seeing a lot at the highest level. The Spine Crawler moves forward so that the creep tumors can move forward.
Yeah. Very important to start extending that creep early to get that map control, get that vision, get that upgrade, that speed advantage on those speedlings as the Hellions continuing to try to harass those creep tumors.
There is a bit of a push here coming for Polt. He's got a handful of Marines pushing across the center with those Hellions in tow. So Marine Hellion against Ling Baneling and Stephano. This time these units are going to be very, very helpful. They get completely surrounded by the Zerglings. Hellions are all going to die. They get pinned up against that wall. Baneling's going to end up detonating as well. And, well, Polt's going to get out of there with about 6-7 Marines. His aggression has been thwarted.
Yeah.
Well, kind of thwarted. Stephano going to be forced to pull drones here.
Polt definitely getting the better edge of this engagement. Again, Marines and Hellions only cost minerals, so he can afford to make these trades against those Banelings that are very gas intensive. And will he end up taking down this third? I don't think so. Obviously, Stephano doesn't want to let that happen, making more and more lings, getting him on the field. Keep in mind, Polt can just lift up these Marines if he so pleases and get out of there.
Yeah, and that's probably what we'll see. Man, those Marines are positioned so
well. Oh my God, they're dying.
Fighting so incredibly effectively with double medevac, and my God, these Marines are being effective. Stephano finally cleans up the last of those Marines. Polt picks up 2 of them and flies out of there. But that was an awesome exchange for Polt. He's now got a secure 3 base. He's got 50 workers to 60 workers, and he's going to have to deal with a short Stephano pause. So hopefully this is not a major issue.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I guess we'll find out pretty soon from production or for whoever goes and talks to Stephano.
That was an interesting little poke there by Polt. Stephano now saying, sorry, go. And maybe Stephano saw something in Polt's play. Maybe he looked at some replays, and maybe that's why he got those early units out.
That's true.
Because that was a really awkward timing to have a bunch of Zerglings and Banelings. So if anybody has an idea, you can send me a tweet. Let me know at MrBitter TV.
Hashtag Lone Star Clash.
Exactly.
That needs to be done. Universal.
I will not read it if it doesn't have hashtag Lone Star Clash.
You refuse to read it?
I do.
That's impressive.
I will close my eyes.
Oh man, I would ask then how do you see if it's hashtag, but I'm gonna let that go. And if you look at the supply count right now, 119 to 114 in the favor of the Terran player. 3 bases for Polt, so his economy is definitely getting up there. 66 to 59 is the drone lead for Stephano. But again, Terran on 3 bases, Zerg on 3 bases. When is Stephano going to start getting that fourth? Not even getting gases at his third base, which is a little bit interesting as well. Again, going for this Infestor style does require a lot of gas. That being said, he does have 500 or 600 banks. So again, that low economy that he went for early on in the game means he doesn't have as many drones, so not going for that gas as fast as third base.
Yeah. Check out Polt. He's scouting all around the place with Marines, making sure Stephano hasn't hidden any bases. This is very good, thorough play. I'm a little bit surprised that we don't see a hive yet from Stephano. It's just kind of characteristic of his play. He likes the fast hive. He's up on 6 gas, but he's just now taking the gases at his third base, which is a little bit sloppy. Now the hive goes down, as well as the Spire. Now we often see Stephano play Ultraling, especially on Antigua, so that is a very interesting choice, opting for the Spire rather than persisting with the Ultralisk play. Yes.
Yeah, and the reason he does this, obviously, he's upgrading his Lings like super hardcore early on in the game, and of course those upgrades carry over to those Ultralisks. A little bit weird going for this Spire play. Now, you know, he could make some mutas here, but again, the fact that he built the Spire at the same time as the Hive does imply that he wants to go for those relatively quick Broodlords.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Now the melee upgrades will also carry over to the Broodlings.
This is true.
But you're completely right. There's just a little bit more synergy when you go Ultraling. Single Marine here is going to be able to kill this drone that's trying to build a hatch. Stephano, look at Stephano, he's so good.
Brilliant.
Catches it right away. He's going to get that hatchery up.
And now I'm wondering what Polt's going to do here. He's probably going to push when he's maxed, right?
That's what it's looking like, and he's going to max faster than
And the timing
Stephano.
of this is like perfect because no way Broodlords are going to be out. When this push ends up coming, when this push ends up happening.
You're right, but something we have to realize here is that Polt is way behind in upgrades. He's at just +1 attack, and Stephano, he's got 150 supply, but that's a deceptively small number. There's still 100 Zerglings out on the map, 7 Infestors. Stephano could crush this push. He could absolutely crush this push if he catches it with those tanks unsieged, and it's just a matter of whether or not he realizes it. Does he see this army moving? No, he does not. Polt moving along the outskirts of Stephano's vision. Oh my goodness, this is going to be very, very frustrating for our Zerg player. This I guess we can call it the 5th base. He's going to get picked off. Ling's going to poke down, and boom, hello siege tanks. That is not going to work, Stephano. You want to back up off of that, and all of a sudden 90 Lings become 50 Lings.
Yeah, and Polt didn't lose, basically, like he didn't lose much at all in that engagement.
Nothing at all.
Of course, Stephano throwing away those units, going to go for it once again, changing his mind, throwing out a Fungal Growth on 3 Marines, staying at the high ground there on the watchtower. Polt being very methodical about this push.
And this is what we talked about in the very beginning of this game. Polt just wants to control the center. Stephano wants to prevent him from controlling the center. First Corruptors are on the way. Greater Spire also finishing up. So Broodlord tech not far away. And you know what? It's actually brilliant that Stephano's going to build Broodlords because Polt is preparing for the Ultralisks. He's got Marauders coming out right now.
Oh, you're right.
He's going to be caught with his pants around his ankles. His proverbial ankles.
Right.
Tanks are going to be able to deny mining at this 4th base of Stephano, but as that happens, there's going to be Broodlord tech finishing up, and my goodness, Polt still has no idea.
I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't tried to scan the main to see the progress of that hive and whether or not there's a greater Spire. That being said, some Marines getting over-eager, running into a swell of Zerglings there, and Stephano trying desperately to keep this hatchery alive, trying to buy some time so the Broodlords can't get out. That being said, 2 Vikings are on the way for Polt, so I think he knows about these Broodlords.
Yep, nice fungals there. Broodlords are going to start coming forward. I would expect these tanks to unsiege, and yes, they will, and that should cue Stephano to go with the Lings, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Tank's going to back up to this planetary where they will be very, very safe against additional Zergling aggression, but these Broodlords should be able to kill this expand.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, theoretically, SCVs can pretty much repair that forever, and the Planetary Fortress can get like 200 kills. And we also have Vikings on the way for Polt. I'm pretty sure 3 are on the field.
They're on the way, but they're not out yet. And Stephano having to run back into his main to deal with a bit of a drop here. 4 medevacs full of units. Infestors are way out of position, and Stephano just funneling in. That's a little bit sloppy. Broodlord's still shelling this expansion, and they do kill it. Now they're going to have to retreat. Do a great job by Stephano, paying enough attention to pull them back as the Vikings come. Meanwhile, this drop still doing damage in the main base of Stephano, but Fungals are finally here. And theoretically, they should be able to fungal this group of units to death, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Everything will get cleaned up. Corruptor's even going to come over to deal with the remainder of the medevacs. Only 2 Vikings, and they're going to get caught by fungal. That's a very important move there. The Viking count's so critical. Polt moving up to the top left at the same time. Excellent multitasking on both sides, but I do feel like Polt is getting the better of these engagements.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we talked about a little bit earlier. Polt super proactively denying these additional expansions from StePhano.
God,
of course,
Polt.
it's very hard for StePhano to defend this hatchery, and it's just going to go down. Polt doing everything right in this game thus far. 2 more Vikings on the way, adding on 3 starports.
3 starports and 3 command centers. He's retaking the 4th, he's taking a 5th, and he's going to take a 6th on the back of it. And with triple starport, he's going to be able to make infinity Vikings.
Oh, yeah.
And StePhano is really low on money. He's been playing 3-base this whole game.
Yeah.
Now, so has Polt, but Polt's been a little bit more cost-effective in these exchanges. You can see it big time on the resources lost tab, where Polt has only lost about 7,000 resources to about 4,000 resources worth of losses on StePhano's side.
Yeah, and, you know, a lot of that can be attributed to the races, but you're right. I mean, Polt has just... He's handled every single one of these engagements pretty much perfectly. Hasn't lost too much. That being said, though, StePhano spreading himself out across the map definitely looks like he wants to engage. Has a lot of corruptors in the air to try to deal with those Vikings. 3 Vikings in production for Polt. Keep in mind, he's close to max, so he has to start thinking about his late game composition, how he wants it to be formed. Don't want to make too much of one unit and then be left, you know, pretty much naked.
Ooh, tanks are uncovered here on the left side of the map, Polt. What are you doing?
Gosh.
StePhano doesn't seem to see it right now, and instead he's going to run into this, what do you call it, 4th expansion. He's going to kill all the SCVs there and may manage to kill this planetary. Meanwhile, this is a huge army for Polt, but the Broodlords are here, and here come the Zerglings as well. There's not that many Zerglings. Marines are a bit behind. Polt cannot afford to lose these tanks. This will be a critical loss. At the same time, another little Marine squad moving up the backside of the map. StePhano responding to that exceptionally well. Also, Polt backs right into a choke. This needs to be fungal. You do not want to fight this with just Lings.
I agree. Doesn't have any infestors close here, so a lot of Lings going to go down here. Those Marines being very cost efficient. Meanwhile, a very interesting army composition over here on the left side of the map. A bunch of Marines, a bunch of tanks. I guess StePhano doesn't feel comfortable engaging with the Broodlords because the Marines could potentially stem forward and deal with the Broodlords. But where are the infestors?
So much happening all around the map. StePhano attacking in the bottom right. StePhano also using infestors in the center, while these Broodlords and Corruptors are working on dealing with this large tank force at the top of the map. And I think Polt is actually working himself into a corner here. He's got bases everywhere. The economy of Polt is theoretically awesome, but it's StePhano who's maxed out and banking a lot of money. Lings do finally catch all of these tanks, and Polt continuing to back up. At the same time, look, more Zerglings running into the center of the map, trying to harass, but that planetary there is going to kill a lot of them. Beautiful play on both sides of the map. Excellent multitasking from both these players.
And now Polt going to return a squadron of Marines and 2 medevacs to the right-hand side of the map to try to deny an additional expansion. Nice fungal goes there from StePhano, taking out the remainder of these tanks and Marines, and Polt is transitioning into Thors. Has 3 in production, continue with that Marine production as well, and this hatchery on the right-hand side is going to go down, MrBitter.
StePhano had burrow. He should have burrowed his drones. A little bit sloppy. They're just allowing them to die. This little Marine squad will probably load up into the medevacs and be fine. At which point I would suspect to see Polt move them into the main. And, well, no, Corruptors are there, so this that is a fruitless drop, even fungling it. So StePhano takes some losses, but hits Polt back at the same time. 200 supply to 150, still a very close game, but Polt mining at a base on the left side and in the center of the map with planetaries, and StePhano cannot assail that.
Look at all of these Vikings. He needs to make sure they stay spread apart so he doesn't get fungled.
Viking god.
And all of these Corruptors are basically going to get one shot.
That is like 18 Vikings. Holy hell. This is when the Ultraless tech switch is so strong, but StePhano does not have the Ultraless Cavern. Infested Terrans going down all over the place. Ling's going to crash into the Thors, but with Marines behind it, I don't know how well that's going to go. Nice fungal goes down on those Marines. Thors do eventually fall. It's 60 Zerglings against 13 Vikings and 30 Marines. All the Broodlords have been dealt with. There's only 2 on the map right now, 4 Corruptors as well. Zerglings did clean up all the SCVs at the same time. Big fungals on those Vikings. So much happening around the map right now.
This is an absolutely insane game. It's really hard to tell who's ahead right now. StePhano 150 to 119 supply of Polt, both relatively low in minerals, a decent amount of gas. This planetary fortress providing very cost efficient 58 kills to its name. At the same time, Broodlords laying siege on the planetary fortress. On the left-hand side, that has 45 kills.
The Vikings are going to come forward and deal with these Broodlords finally, but not before StePhano gets a couple more worker kills. The thing that's really working in favor of Polt right now is his orbitals. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 orbitals, so it doesn't matter if he loses SCVs. He can drop mules for his mineral income all day long. StePhano really needs to secure and mine from 4th and 5th bases, but Polt's doing such a great job of denying it, and he's not even controlling the center of the map, so StePhano working so hard. An Ultraless tech switch, well, I guess he doesn't really need it anymore, as the Viking count has been more or less thwarted. There's only 3 Vikings on the field.
I mean,
what an incredible game we're seeing.
I don't know if he even has the money to go for an Ultraless tech switch. I mean, his main is mined out, his natural is mined out, third approaching him to hold that thought. Stefano going to engage here in the middle of the map. A lot of Marines on the field here for Polt. Nice fungal growth there from Stefano, but Marines stimming forward from the right-hand side, getting a target fire. A lot of these infested Broodlords are absolutely naked, nothing underneath them to support them, and Polt, it looks like he might clean up this army.
Yes, and Polt is going to push Stefano out of the center of the map right now. Stefano very low on money, and this upgraded bio just shredding everything. Those are 3-3 Marines, Axel, and you do not want to tangle with them. It's 120 supply to 120 supply, and there are no energy on Stefano's infestors. He's got 2 morphing Broodlords that are going to get caught out in the open, and that is not going to be allowed to complete. He needs a couple fungals, does catch one, but Polt just seems to have too much. His control is too good. And with these planetaries around the map, he's just got income that Stefano can't seem to do anything about. Every Zergling dies. And Gratz says Stefano. Polt going to take game number 1, a very action-packed Antigua Shipyard. Holy hell. Woo!
That was intense. Well worth the win.
Makes me want to say yeehaw.
Well, you just said it. There you go. Bitter has the Texas spirit.
Of course, of course. Though I do think everybody in the audience groaned when I said it.
Probably. Perhaps many viewing online as well.
Oh, man, what a game. Polt is so good. I think this is my analysis of that game. When Polt rolled out with 18 Vikings and killed all the Broodlords, Stefano fungled and used infested Terrans to kill the Vikings. I think he should have left the Vikings alone and made 10 Ultralisks. And I think that would have been very difficult for Polt to deal with. I mean, it's like 36 supply of units that are just worthless against Ultras. That is how I think you win in that situation. You utilize the strength of the tech switch, but Polt just played so good, and I'm not even convinced that a switch like that would have worked, even if he was completely unaware of it.
I'm still a little bit flabbergasted by the beginning of that game. Stefano going for all those early lings, and he started that production when his drone count was at like 30 or 40.
Yeah, it was.
That's pretty unusual for a Zerg player. Usually they'll get their economy up and then start getting out those lings to defend against early aggression. And if you remember, of course, Polt went for that super fast expand. So
yeah, he was on 3 bases before Stefano was.
Yeah, and when a Terran player macros that hard is going for that economy, and then you're back at home with not that many drones, relative to the optimal amount of drones, and then you're investing a lot of money into lings, units, banelings. You don't have a third. You could say that Stefano was behind from then on, but then again, Polt very proactive about denying additional expansions from his opponent, which was very key, very instrumental in his victory in that game again. On Antigua, you have that advantage. I mean, you're both going to have 3 bases. That's a given. And then you have to work towards denying those additional expansions from your opponent, and then slowly get your economy ahead, and then take the game.
No matter what we say, Axeltoss, that was an excellent game, and Polt definitely outplayed Stefano there. We are going to take a very short commercial break, and when we get back, it'll be game number 2 between these 2 powerhouse StarCraft 2 pros.